Overlap run, shot comes in, and it's in the back of the net. It's Kai Wagner from way outside. Inside, Pizarro golazo! Pizarro golazo! That's pretty soccer!
Nice ball to Ever Medina. Golazo! A bombazo by Jesus Medina. Nice ball, Perea. Was it Perea? The header is Ticho Akindele to make it 3-1.
What is up, everybody? Welcome on into MLS Today, presented by AT&T. I'm Susanna Collins, joined by my guy, Kalen Carr. Kalen, how are you holding up? It's been a lot of soccer, a lot of late nights. How are you feeling? Just checking in.
Well, I missed morning soccer today, morning MLS. I had my coffee ready, and
I know.
And no MLS.
Gotten used to it.
But it's been good. I think the games have picked up in quality as the tournament has gone on, and I would expect optimistically that to continue.
Yes, I agree. Well, we have a ton to get to today, as Kalen mentioned. 2 matches last night. Orlando City! What's up? They continue to surge. NYCFC, however, slump. Plus, guys, we have an interview with Vancouver head coach MARC dos SANTOS, so we're going to get to that in a bit ahead of their first match of the tournament. But first, let's get you caught up on the big headlines from last night. And we start with Orlando City and one Chris Mueller, who scores not 1 but 2 goals. He gets the brace as Orlando beats NYCFC 3-1, Kalen.
Yeah, it's 3 for the tournament and 4 for the season already. So I think he scored 5 goals all of last season. So he has come out hot. I mean, this one especially showing a little bit of composure here. Watch Matarrita, though. Just not good enough on the backside. Goes to sleep.
Snoozing.
And then Sean is left on his own there. But good composure there from Chris Mueller.
And how about Philadelphia Union? Kalen, you called it. They continue to roll as they took care of Miami, winning 2-1.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my Group A prediction so far. I'm feeling nice about this. And this goal helps. Nice stuff here from Shabilko. Brendan Aronson pulling the strings all match, finds a nice pass here and good composure just to bring it across his body. And then from there, the quick release with the left foot to the back post.
And guys, we have some good news coming from the bubble. 0 new positive tests from the remaining clubs that are in Orlando between July 12th and 13th. Considering what we were dealing with last week with the news with Nashville and Dallas, this feels like a real win, Kalen. Everyone's staying safe and healthy.
Yeah, if you look across the world, in Germany, there was always bound to be positive tests. You hope that it would never lead to the point where teams would have to be withdrawn from the tournament. That unfortunately happened, but the protocol seems to be working, and we get to watch MLS.
Let's keep it going. All right, let's get to the highlights from last night, and we are going to start with that Orlando NYCFC game. Alex Ring making his 100th appearance in MLS, and Orlando got things started quickly. That guy, Chris Mueller, oh, what a sick finish on that.
Yeah, it's a great ball in behind and a high line here from New York City. And what that leaves you exposed to is speed. And we know Chris Mueller has that to be able to just kind of burst in behind. Does well just to put it on frame. No chance for Sean Johnson.
And Chris Mueller was not done. Check this out. The header into the box for Chris Mueller. And I love this finish. I love the composure he showed there, Kalen.
Yeah. We should mention, we've seen some poor defending in the tournament. Matarrita here, he just shuts off on the back post. And sometimes, yes, you could say the heat, humidity, but this is the 9th minute here. You're already down a goal. You really can't afford to make a mistake in that moment. And from there, they were chasing the match.
Well, it wasn't all bad news, though, for NYCFC because Jesus Medina did that. They finally score a goal, and it was a beauty. Woo!
Suze, do you know how good it feels to hit a ball like this?
No. I don't.
Yeah, neither do I, actually. That was amazing.
Never happened.
Strike from Medina.
Never happened in my life.
That's why people are so excited about him and want to see more. But fantastic finish. And then you got to give credit to Perea. Pulls the right strings. His 2 substitutes combined here. Benji Michel gets it over. And a really nice finish there from Tesho to put things away.
So check this out. Orlando City has won 2 straight MLS matches for the first time in over 2 years, which is crazy, dating back to 2018. That is at 801 days for those of you counting, which is pretty ridiculous. But we talked a little bit about it after Orlando City's first win over Miami, and how both of us kind of anticipated there might be a little boost after that, a confidence, a swagger amongst the team, and that was on full display. Kaylin, they came out red hot. What has been the key for you to their turnaround?
Definitely the surprise of the tournament, you have to say it. And I think it really came, we talked about how important that first match can be, and in the opener they had such an emotional win, really, with this 97th minute extra time winner here from Nani, where he just stays alive in the box and gets past their in-state, I don't know if you want to call them rivals, but yeah, I guess so. That was a big match for them. And then I thought that Preja made an interesting choice here. So many coaches have made the decision to rotate the squad. He did not. He went with the same starting 11 from the match before, which is difficult to do in this heat. But you saw the start that they got off to. I think they came in with a really positive approach, put New York City under the pressure, and before you know it, they had 2 goals, the lead, made the right substitutions late. So Orlando City, I mean, they have to feel so good about their start to this tournament. And I think they could possibly ride this not just into the next round, but really keep going throughout the tournament. So definitely one of the surprises of the tournament so far, but well-deserved.
It's exciting. I'm so happy for Orlando City supporters who have, it's been a struggle for them. And just when Matt Doyle starts tweeting good things about Orlando City, you know that they're doing something right. So that's a really, really good indication. But they are now in control with a win or a draw in their next match. They will win Group A. They've already secured their spot moving on in the tournament. And a big reason for that, we talked about it, we saw it in the highlights, Chris Mueller with a brace. He has 3 goals in this tournament. He's leading the Golden Boot race. He has 4 goals in 4 games overall this season. Woo! I mean, he had 5 goals total last year. What has been the difference from him? What are you seeing from him, Kaylin?
Well, he's got a lot of confidence going right now, as you mentioned, just getting goal after goal after goal, and he's firmly establishing himself as a starter. And there were times last season and even before where he's been used in this super sub role, which I think has been kind of concerning and what's maybe held him back, where you see him in flashes, but a player of his quality needs to be playing from the start and playing consistently. And I think he's got a lot of qualities that you can't teach. He's got something different about himself as far as, of course, we notice his pace in behind and some of his technique as well. I think the next challenge for him is to be able to, especially as you look towards the national team, which is the conversation of can he make that next step. And like a lot of our young wingers, it's can you tuck inside, can you play in Berhalter's system where it's maybe not just about running straight lines. You know he can stretch the field and get in behind. I think that will be the next challenge. But look, when you look at our player pool for the U.S. men's national team and the wingers, you've got Tyler Boyd, Jonathan Lewis. They've used Roldan out there even a little bit. Corey Baird, Areola's hurt. Tim Weah, where's he at right now in his career? So I think he's a name that should get a look at some point. He fits within that group to me. And if he can continue to be a day-in, day-out starter, contributing with goals, and maybe the best thing I like about him overall is he's got some personality. I think he's got this. He's playing with big players, with Dom Dwyer and Nani. He finds the right pass, but he doesn't really defer to them. He likes the spotlight himself. And so I think that personality, we need more players like that with the U.S. men's national team who are eager to impress and want to take their chance when they get it. So he's a name I'd like to see get a look.
Yeah, he's played his way into the conversation. I spent some time with him a couple seasons ago. I did a BTW episode with him and Uri Roussel. We went to Topgolf. And you mentioned that personality and that confidence. I mean, for as young as he is, this is a guy who is just oozing confidence. And I would tell you, this is just a low-key day, playing some Topgolf, having some fun. And this guy, I've never seen a more competitive individual in my life. I mean, I was terrible and Uri was terrible, and it didn't matter. He wanted to crush us. And so he's got that fire. He's got that competitive edge. He's got that swagger. I'm really excited to see what's to come for Chris Mueller. Also, he's a Chicago boy. So I'm
a little, We know Berhalter was standing behind the pitch last night.
Sure
but
was.
He didn't see the top golf. He didn't see the top golf. Suze, you got to let him know.
Well, if you watched the match on Twitter, they re-showed that episode at halftime. So just saying, maybe you caught a glimpse. All right. Okay, let's move it along. Let's chat about NYCFC. Ooh, okay. So there was a goal, which is a positive for them. We saw that beautiful goal from Jesus Medina, but this is not the position that many people, including myself, thought that they would be in at this point in the tournament. What went wrong here? Some people were talking about perhaps Ronnie Dyla got his lineup wrong. What do you think, Kaylin? What do you make of their struggles?
Well, it's been so shocking to see, mainly because the quality on the roster. They are, I think Jim Curtin said it leading into the tournament, that at least on paper, NYCFC may have the best team in the East. And I don't disagree with that at all. I think when you go into the preseason predictions, I had them either at or very near the top, and it really hasn't worked out that way on the pitch. We knew there'd be an adjustment period with a new manager putting in his new system. If you want to be optimistic, it took Dome Tarrant some time to really get the pieces moving in the direction that he wanted. I have trust in the staff that he's built around him. I know Mehdi Bellucci quite well, and some of the other staffs, but it really hasn't turned out on the pitch at this point. And you have to ask, I mean, even Dyla himself said afterwards, it seemed like it wasn't clear enough how he wanted to play. And for the first 30 minutes, it was really just one-way traffic. Now, you have to mention a big part of that will be the loss of Maxi Morales. His absence really was a tough one, almost insurmountable in some ways, but you would think against an Orlando team, although they are much improved and organized, that they would still be able to have some joy in the match. I think as far as the lineup conversation goes, the decision to start Thorarinsson and Ring just clearly did not work. And they brought in Tashuri Shradi at halftime, took out Thorarinsson, and moved Sands up into the midfield. They just, with the absence of Maxi, I think they could have chose a different option, even somebody who could get on the ball a bit more, whether it was Sands or Parks, and they just weren't able to really have that spell of possession that they needed to. And yes, Maxi is big, but it just looked disconnected, and it continued that way. Even the moments that they were looking for were more individual. Tashuri Shradi either creating or Matrita on his own. Of course, the sort of wonder strike from Medina, but it looked too individual in that situation. And when we've seen them at their best, it's been the systematic passing patterns and then finding Eber up front. So
that was my question to you. How did they get him? How do they get Eber more involved? Because last year, I mean, he was a low-key contender for MVP. We saw flashes of absolute brilliance from this guy. Such a good player and was so productive for them. He's been kind of missing in this. How do they get him involved?
I think that comes back to the Maxi Morales conversation, though, because I think Maxi is the one that has been able to find that pass and to make this team of talented individuals work as an organism. And when you take that one piece out, that is a big missing gap. And Eber is a guy that is really more about a little bit of combination play at the top of the box, but really just getting in behind, finding these little gaps in the defense and finding his finish. And had a good look with Andre Blake, who made that incredible save late in that first match. Maybe that changes things, but it has looked disjointed, and I know NYCFC fans with the expectations that were coming into the season are now having some real big questions about where their team is at.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for NYCFC for sure. All right, let's move it along to the second game of the doubleheader last night, and that is Philadelphia taking on Miami. And Philadelphia has been rolling in this tournament. Andre Blake has been so good for them. No surprise there. But we, again, kind of like Orlando, Philadelphia did not take long in this one, Kaylin.
No. Brendan Aronson makes a really good run in behind here. You think he's going to hold it up. He kind of shimmies and then cuts it back. Wagner with a fantastic finish to the back post.
But Miami made it interesting, and they want to do that because they've got Rodolfo Pizarro, and he can do things like this. So
there were some good goals in this tournament. We talked about the quality of play. This was a really nice goal, the little combination play, and then Pizarro just so calm, takes that extra little preparatory touch, and just kind of passes it into the far post. He's been a player, and then this one we didn't see the whole run up. I think we will in a bit, but the pattern to go end to end so quickly in an instant, and Aronson again finds Shabilko in the back post, and then just kind of guides it to that back post. Really nice. Here's the shot.
Little cut. Oh, we were talking about this when we were looking before. This angle is so cool.
Are you allowed to fly drones this high?
I don't know. I hope so, because I love this. You can see the movement so well. Shabilko. Okay, so this is how the standings are for Group A. Orlando and Philadelphia are moving on. We don't know yet who will be at the top of the group come the end of the group stage, but both of those teams will be moving on in the tournament. And between Miami and NYCFC, like I said, they've got their work cut out for them.
Still a chance, maybe as the third seed?
Still a chance? Numbers are hard for me, Kaylin. I can't do math. Well, let's get to some post-game press conferences. Here's what Jim Curtin had to say after Philadelphia's performance.
Miami made it very difficult on us all night, did not allow us time and space, created a lot of problems, and if I'm being honest, probably deserved something from the game. So we escaped with the big win. So again, for the grit, for the intensity, for the focus, I give my guys an A+, but for the soccer, we all need to do better, and I think we all recognize that in the locker room right now.
Well, okay, Jim Curtin. I mean, apparently dominating in 2 wins just isn't good enough. I mean, if you were looking back on what Jim Curtin just said, and that there are things that they need to work on, Kaylin, what is it that Philadelphia can improve on at this point? Because so far, to me, in my humble estimation, they look pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's looked good, but I think Jim said he's hoping the standard for this group, and I think from knowing the guys within it, can actually be higher. And I don't think we've seen the best from Philadelphia yet. I think they've been able to win and make sure that they've seen games out and had some really good spells and moments, but it hasn't been. I think they're going to still grow into the tournament, which makes them a scary team. And one of the reasons why I picked them going into the tournament as my pick to win it all. And I think a huge reason for their success has been Brenden Aronson. He has been tremendous. As far as the weaknesses go, though, there's still a couple moments where they have left some opportunities that either Inter Miami or NYCFC have not punished them. And when you look at the best strikers in MLS, if they, I guess Joseph Martinez is out, but when you go to these top number 9s, Rui Diaz and Joseph, Giassi, when you think of these guys as you go along in the tournament, if you give those guys a moment or two, they will punish you. And then I still think Andre Blake, while he is one of the best goalkeepers in MLS and makes these spectacular saves, he has consistently had trouble with crosses and coming off of his line. And so there are still some issues. Torres hit one off the crossbar. I think if you can give him some trouble as well. So still some work to be done in the back, but I think things as they've moved forward have been really positive. And Brenden Aronson, I think has been a big part of that.
For you, Kaylin, are the Union the best team in the East right now?
I'm not quite sure I'm willing to go that far. I think Columbus has looked really good. Obviously, they had a fantastic match, but we're playing against a FC Cincinnati team that was undermanned and with a brand new head coach who hasn't had time to prepare his team. So, but I think Columbus would be right up there in the East, and then I would add New York Red Bulls as well. They had an impressive performance in that first match against Atlanta, and I think is a team that could do some damage with their style of play. So, but I think those three for me are the
Would you throw
3.
Toronto in there at all?
I would throw Toronto in there. Yeah, I know it was kind of like a freak.
Yeah, I know.
Give DC a lot of credit and came back, but you're right, Susanna. Thank you for bringing it up because you have to remember Josie Altidore is going to return into the tournament, and I think that's a team that can grow with strength as they progress. And New England is close, right around, edging around that. The East, to me, is really strong. I like all these teams, and then there's been a couple sleepers too, like Orlando, that have surprised us so far.
I love sleepers. I live for it. It's so much fun. Well, let's chat a little bit about Miami, who I guess after this particular match against Philadelphia, I think having watched them now 4 games total, I think this was probably their most complete performance as a team. There's obviously still a lot to fix there, but after 4 matches, who is Miami? What is this team's identity? What's going to be the thing that gets them results, Kalen?
Well, I thought they looked good for large spells of last night, and you can see the quality when they get going with that goal that they scored through Pizarro, and he really has been the player for them. He's just never rushed, very calm in the box. He just takes that extra little touch and moves around the back line and can really finish off the action for this team. The issue is more that I just don't know if they have enough pieces around him to be really dangerous. And then I think they have a solid back line. I think they could use a little bit of strength right in the middle of the midfield, find a ball winner, somebody that can really help transition them. I know I saw on, I think, MLSsoccer.com, they were rumored to have put in a bid for Arturo Vidal, who would definitely fit that bill.
Wow.
So we know that Inter Miami was always going to be a team that was going to be sort of created as we watch them. I've seen some really nice moments and pieces. I like the way Diego Alonso has set them up, but just lacking a little bit of quality as far as difference makers to really get on the other side of these results.
Good stuff. All right, Kalen, we all love goals. Who doesn't love goals? For you, what was your goal of the night last night? Because we've been seeing a lot of them lately, and I like it.
For last night?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be Medina.
Medina, right?
I love a team. I love a good team goal, and I think there's something to be said for that. But not when you hit a ball like that. Like, I'll give you the team goals, and the build-up is really nice. I love it. But if somebody takes it off the bounce like that and just absolutely crushes it, you can't hit a ball better than that. So I got to give it up for that one. What about you?
I mean, that one is the obvious choice. I really liked both of Chris Mueller's goals. I liked the second goal just because of the little composure he took, that extra step. But that first one on the volley too was pretty great. So I'll give Cash Money Mueller some love there. Why not?
All right.
Why not?
This one was nice too. I think the way it goes from end to end here. And this is a little dummy there from Montero, and he just does it. He does that twice, actually, in the run-up. We didn't get it from the very beginning, but this is a really nice finish. It reminded me a little bit of the Beric goal, where he cuts it back. This one was in front of the leg, but Beric took it behind. But just that extra moment of pause, that composure to cut it back across and then just guide it to the back post.
Love it. All right, well, I heard you had a chance to catch up with Vancouver head coach Marc Dos Santos. Is that right?
I did. Let's check out that interview.
Let's see it.
All right, and joining us for our AT&T call to the field is Vancouver Whitecaps manager Marc Dos Santos. Marc, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Marc, so you've had no games. You've had to wait a while. Obviously, everyone's had no games for a long time, but being in Orlando and having to wait through most of the group play, how have you kept your team ready during this time?
Well, through training and, to look at them, understand what the games could be about. We also learn with what's going on in the game and the physical side of it. There's a normal breakdown because the teams are not 100% ready to play a tournament like that. There's a lot of cramps, a lot of substitutions, players getting tired faster than normal. So not playing first also allows us to see some tendencies in the tournament.
What have you seen as far as some of those tendencies goes? You mentioned some of the physical challenges. Of course, the heat is a big part of that. And you have a club that's used to traveling, going through time differences. When you look at it from the physical side, but then maybe also from the mental side, what are some of the challenges you've seen so far in the tournament?
Yes, we feel that in the first 45 minutes, you see well what the teams are trying to do, and the majority of the time, they're able to play close to each other when they don't have the ball, and being the most compact as possible inside the game. But then in the second half, you tend to see slowly the games opening up, substitution, players coming off the bench having an importance or playing a role that could help their team. The secret here, in my opinion, is how long can you stay organized throughout the 90 minutes? How do you choose your references of pressure, when to do it, how, because the games could be very long if you already play a very open style.
How important in that equation is getting the first goal or not conceding the first goal?
I would say getting the first goal, because you set the tempo right away. You put yourself in a position that you put pressure on the opponent. The opponent has to open up even more. So that's something that we talk a lot about in our club and in our team, to make sure that we start in the front foot.
When you look at your roster, there's been several players who have opted out due to family reasons, but maybe the most notable one has been Lucas Cavallini and his absence. How will you adjust to his absence in this tournament?
Look, of the 5 players that stayed out, 4 played an important role in our last season game that was in LA. Andy Rose brought leadership and had a very important role in that game, had a strong, solid performance. Lucas did everything well. He just didn't score, but he did everything well. Toss Ricketts scored the goal that gave us the 3 points. Freddie came on to keep us in possession when LA went a man down and to help the team finish the game. So when you don't have 4 players that are traveling that play an important role in your team, of course that creates an effect. But it also gives an opportunity for young players to step in and show what they could do. So I'm excited for the guys that are going to get the opportunity to showcase themselves and to get an opportunity to show all their value.
When you look at the progression of your club from year 1 to year 2 now, and you see maybe in some of the players and personnel, but then also in the patterns of play and tactics that you want to employ, what have you maybe taken from year 1 that you'd like to see continue to grow into year 2?
So one of the things that we addressed was the type of profile, and we had to put ourselves in year 1 in a position that would allow us to grow. So we had a lot of players on loan. We didn't have a lot of players with 2-year contract. It allowed us to really recruit well going towards 2020. Also the changes inside the club. And one of the biggest things that we addressed was in the profile of player, the demands of the game today, how fast it is, how dynamic it is, how intense it is. And for us, we had a saying in our club, no intensity, we don't sign. And we wanted to make sure that every time a player would step on the field for our club, yes, of course, he needs to have technical ability to play at this level, but the intensity he plays the game at and his commitment towards the game has to be incredibly high. And that's what I saw right in preseason when we talk about our preseason matches in San Diego, our performances in Portland in the tournament there. We didn't have a good game against Kansas City. Kansas played better, was a better team that night, but then we answered very well in LA against the Galaxy. We're in the right track as a club. I'm sure about where we're going, and we've recruited young but very talented players, very dynamic, that I'm excited for people to see them. But at the same time, we're just disappointed that we can't be in this tournament with the real image of what we can be about in the future.
Do you embrace this role of coming in as an underdog, or does your team, is that something that you sort of communicate to your team, or are you focused on other things? Because I don't think many people are picking you.
I don't communicate that to the team because we're a team that doesn't have the majority of the roster. The pressure is on the others. They have to be better, and there's always surprises in this game. And we hope we could be a pleasant surprise.
All right. Well, Marc, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck in the tournament.
Thank you very much. Nice speaking to you again.
All right, so will Vancouver be a pleasant surprise? We will soon find out. That game tonight against San Jose is at 9 p.m. Eastern on 2DNA and on Twitter. Kaylin, it was a really great interview, so wonderful job there. And Marc Dos Santos said some interesting things. Most notably, the thing that stuck out to me was that he said it's unfortunate that the team that's going to be playing in this tournament isn't really indicative of who he thinks that they actually are as a team, and is not going to reflect their identity as a team. So with that in mind, what do you think that we can expect to see from the Vancouver Whitecaps as they take the field for the first time in the MLS's back tournament?
Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation. He was very honest. I think oftentimes you find a manager who tries to say, "Oh, well, we don't look at ourselves as underdogs," or either we embrace it. And he's like, I think everybody kind of knows where we're at. We're missing all these players. He sort of went through the list of them, and I think the Whitecaps have been largely undefined for a while now. We haven't known exactly what they are as a team or as a club, and this is an opportunity where now, year one, he comes in, it doesn't go well. I think they were 14 points off the playoffs last year, so really not even in contention. But he talked about identifying the profile of player, the style of player that he wants to play in this sort of modern athletic style of play, and he brought in the pieces to be able to do it. Now, the difficult part, as he said, is we won't get to see that necessarily. We won't get to see the full realization of the picture, the profile, or the way he wants to put together his team, because you have all these names missing. And the biggest of them all is Cavallini. That is the guy that we have been wanting to see, and showed really bright moments early on in the year, the Canadian International. We know him very well from CONCACAF and his exploits there, and a big signing. They spent a bunch of money to bring him in and to be a big focal point of the team, and not able to join, of course, for family reasons. And I think everybody supports him to do that. So we don't really know what to expect from Vancouver Whitecaps. They're the last team to play in the tournament, so they've had to sit and wait for a while. They've had some time to acclimate to the heat. And when I look at the teams that have caused some problems, Chicago waited a while. They gave Seattle a hard time in that first match. San Jose had some tired legs from that first match, so maybe that youthful energy and kind of lack of expectations can give them some energy going into this one.
Well, let's talk a little bit about San Jose. As you mentioned, they came out really, really aggressively from the jump in their first game against Seattle. But by the second half, I mean, you could tell these were, as you mentioned, very tired legs. It is hard. It's hard to play in that Orlando Heat, and it is hard to instill that man-marking system for an entire 90 minutes in those conditions. Can that continue for them? Are they going to be able to implement that style of play against Vancouver?
Well, Susanna, how much have we talked about the heat and humidity in this tournament so far?
I mean, the guys are just drenched. Everybody looks like they walked out of the shower within 5 minutes.
I don't think we have talked about it enough. That's how big of a factor this is. I'm being serious. I agree. We've seen the changes to complete back lines. We've seen substitutions, cramping, and this was the match that for me was the most difficult to watch in some ways. Both teams just looked like absolutely gassed. They were just dropping like flies and cramping multiple times in the second half. It was a really difficult match, and San Jose had to put a lot into it. The thing I question about with Almeida, and I saw this last year, was they had that incredible run in the middle part of the season after sort of early to middle part of the season where they lost the first 4 matches and then just kind of went on this incredible run, and everyone had them booked for the playoffs. And I was the only one that was like, at least in our little crew, that was like, I don't know if this is for real, because in some ways over time I felt like they ran out of gas. And the man marking system, I haven't seen Almeida show the tactical flexibility to change it. I saw them play it away in Colorado in altitude on the road. I saw them play it against LAFC with Carlos Vela basically just going one by one by one by one down the field. And there are times where I think you need to adjust. And in a tournament like this, especially as you get to match day 2 or match day 3 of the tournament, I don't know if you can keep that type of system and energy and find success. So that would be the one place where I would say Vancouver, with the fresh legs, might be able to exploit, especially as the match carries on tonight.
Wow. We'll see. That Group B, is so interesting to me. We saw the remaining schedule for them, and we've got Chicago, who collected all 3 points, but then everybody else, it is so up for grabs. I'm excited. It's going to be great. But guys, don't forget, you can watch tonight's match, the Vancouver Whitecaps against the San Jose Earthquakes. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern on To The MAN Twitter. This will be a fun one. Again, Vancouver taking the field for the first time in the MLS's back tournament. What will they look like? We will soon find out. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We are going to be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. every day on Twitter, Facebook, and MLSsoccer.com. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy the soccer tonight. We'll see you real soon, guys.